My name is Frances Kilchenstein. I have lived in Parkville all my life, except the time Uncle Sam had me.
Yeah, it's okay.
And I'm 81 years old.
He got out of bed, sat in the chair.
Our family
So it's
home
like,
originally was
they
right on the
checked them.
corner of
We were
Hartford
there
and
the night
Taylor.
before. If we had not
It's
made
now
it
the
back,
big white
then it would
house
have
that
been,
sits
a horrible tragedy.
where Jerry's seafood store
And,
is.
we made it
The
back.
house in 1930 was moved from the corner down to its present location of 7804 Hartford Road.
And it's 70
The building which we just went to Towson about, the original firehouse building, 2906 Taylor Avenue, became my father's store in 1930 when he purchased it from the volunteer firehouse. And
so how did it become the volunteer firehouse? Because why?
well, they had a huge fire. My grandfather's home burned down, and it was at that time one of the biggest fires in Baltimore County. And my grandfather was in town getting supplies for the store, and when he came home, everything was gone. Everything was wiped out. House, warehouse, everything. Barns, everything was gone. He had to start over from scratch. He built the house on the corner of Taylor and Hartford Road, and they decided that they should have a firehouse in Parkville. My grandfather donated the ground for the firehouse, and all neighbors in Parkville got together and pitched in and built the firehouse. And I don't know just how many years it was active, but I do know that my father bought the building back in 1930 and put his store in there. And we had our store in there from 1930 till 1957.
So there's probably back in 1930 not that many houses in Parkville. It was pretty undeveloped.
It was like country out here in those days. I went to school down in Hamilton at St. Dominic's, and the kids in Hamilton called me a hick because I came from Parkville. But
do you remember the Guess Wine store?
Of course I remember Guess
And
Wine.
what did you go there and buy?
Oh, we used to go in there and buy, well, I didn't have to buy food or anything because we had our own store. But we'd go in there sometimes and buy drinks, sodas and things like that.
Because they had a restaurant in there as well?
He had a restaurant, yes.
And that was located across from what Jerry D's is now? That was like where the bus loop was?
Across from where Jerry D's is now, right at the end of the car loop.
Okay.
The streetcar loop went around there, and Guess Wine's store was right at the end of car loop.
So,
but I remember when the streetcar stopped before the loop, when the streetcar stopped at Hartford and Taylor. It was just a single line there, and the motorman would pick up his tools at one end of the car, go to the other end of the car, and get out and pull the big thing down off the wire, and put the other end back up on the wire, and the streetcar would go on back down Hartford Road. The streetcars ran right in the middle of Hartford Road down through Hamilton.
wow.
You used to have what they call safety zones. You could step out of the streetcar and stand in the safety zone. The cars had to go around it.
So the electricity was a potential danger? You could get electrocuted or something?
No, the electricity was in wires overhead.
Oh, overhead.
Yes.
But you had to watch out for them, so that's what the safety...
No, they were way up high. That's why they had the thing that they
hooked to it.
Hooked up to it, yes.
Do you remember walnut trees or anything that lined Hartford Road?
No, I don't remember a whole lot of trees lining Hartford Road. But I remember right here on the corner of Linwood and Hartford, it was Salik's property. Well, Angela Salik still lives in that first White House there behind the car cleaning place. But that was all their property, and they had a great big lawn out there. They had a concrete wall around it, and Christmas time they would fix that up so pretty. It was really nice.
Yeah. So what was your Christmas like? Did you decorate live trees and have presents?
Yes, we always had live trees. But of course, my father sold trees in the store. We'd always sell trees. We'd go downtown to the produce market and buy the trees and come out and we'd sell them.
What produce market? Was that like Broadway or was that
Oh, no,
Lexington?
no, no. That was
or?
the wholesale produce market down at Old Camden and down Light and Pratt Street, Camden
right.
Street, all down there near McCormick's plant.
And that looks different today, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it's entirely different today. Now that's the Inner Harbor.
So you would go down and they would have trees that would what, come in from the harbor, or were they
No,
just brought it there
they'd
to
come in on
distribute?
the railroad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you'd go up to Camden Yards and get the trees off the railroad cars there.
And where
They'd
were they
be full
coming
of
from?
snow and ice and all. It was a miserable job. Had
Cold.
to do it. Yes.
Well, where did the train come from? Was that like Pennsylvania? Where
They
did the
come
trees?
from Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and you would take a car and go down there, or a truck?
No, our truck.
What kind of truck?
Well, we had 3 trucks. We had a 1.5-ton stake body Dodge truck, and we had 2 what they used to call in those days panel trucks. Now they call them cargo vans, but back then they called them panel trucks, and we had 2 of those. We did delivery out of the store, delivery and credit, and people would call in their orders, we'd make up the orders and deliver them.
So your house, did you have a radio and TV and telephone and icebox in your house? What were some of the new appliances that you had?
Well, I can remember back having an ice house, and eventually my father bought a refrigerator. We had radio. There was no television back then. And he used to have to go down the cellar and put coal in the furnace and all. Eventually he bought an oil burner, so he wouldn't have to do that anymore. My father was crippled, and it was a little hard getting up and down the cellar steps.
So how did you spend your evenings if you didn't have TV? What did your family do at night?
We'd play games and listen to the radio.
So how about any blizzards or floods that stick out in your mind? Any big weather events in Parkville through the years?
Well, the only one that really sticks out in my mind, now this was later. I was 16 years old by this time. I had dislocated my elbow over at Towson High School, and my arm was in a sling, and we had a real heavy storm and cloudburst, and water was running down Park Terrace there, where Schulte and Friday's dime store used to be. It was running down there like a river, and somebody came up and said, "You ought to see where it hits Harford Road. It looks like 2 rivers running together."
Wow.
So we all, a whole bunch of us guys, we ran down there to watch it, standing out in the pouring down rain. I got soaking wet and got pneumonia from it, and ended up in Old St. Joe's Hospital down
Oh my
on
gosh.
Caroline Street.
And what year was that? Do you
Well, I
remember?
was 16 years old, so that would have been, that would have been 1940.
Wow. So I guess Harford Road in 1940 wasn't an asphalt street, or it
Oh,
was?
yeah,
It
sure.
was
Oh, of course.
asphalt?
Yeah, it was asphalt.
So they had the drainage system in by then,
yeah,
but it
yeah.
still
But it was still such
was a fast storm and
Right,
filled up.
yeah.
So what was the, well, we talked about that. Do you remember like Hamburger Junction or any like
Of
stores?
course, I remember Hamburger Junction. It was up at Joppa Road.
Any
Joplin
special
and
memories of Kearney or Cub Hill that you have? Or what's your fondest
I
memory?
can remember there used to be a big field up in Kearney, and my uncles played soccer up there. I used to go up and watch them play soccer. Parkville had a soccer club. They used to say Parkville lost all the games but won all the fights.
After the game, huh?
Right.
Oh gosh. Anything else that we haven't covered that you can think of that you'd like to share?
Well, there's so much. There's so much. I mean,
Doctors
go back
and
80,
dentists.
you go back almost, I'm 81 years old, so you go back 70 to 80 years is an awful lot of memories.
Yeah.
I remember the ice house where where Guesswines lived over top of the ice house, because when Mr. Guesswine first moved to Parkville, that's what he did. He ran the ice house. And they lived upstairs over top of it.
And that was right on
And
Harford
in
Road.
back of the ice house, there was a huge, real tall ice tower. It went up about 125 feet in the air. Well, they didn't use it anymore because they didn't make ice there anymore. They brought it out from town for the ice house. And us kids used to climb the ice tower and play up there. And my mother used to tell us, don't go up the ice tower because it was dangerous. Kids don't think of that.
No.
We go up there, run around, climb around on the girders and all. Chase each other around on the girders, and
I guess that was all made of wood or some steel.
Oh, it
or
was
something?
steel. It was steel.
From
Yeah.
Bethlehem steel, I guess.
I guess so. I don't know where it came from, but it was steel. They used it when they used to make ice at the ice house there. But like I say, it was no longer in use. We just played in it. And then my mother would, first thing you know, my mother would be down at the bottom of the ladder and calling for my sister and I to come down. And she'd have this 18-inch roller, and we'd be getting a spanking all the way home.
Oh, gosh.
And we used to wonder how she always knew we were up there. And then we realized my grandfather could sit in his room in the house and look right down there and see us.
Oh, no.
So he'd tell her, Margaret, you're up the ice tower.
Oh, gosh. So your family, and your mother and your grandfather, they were all in Parkville and lived in Parkville.
Yes, well, actually, my mother originally was from Big Town, southwest Baltimore.
Okay, so as my
But,
father, she remembers, I guess, the pigs actually running through the street. That's what my father remembers.
That's right. Yeah, down Washington Boulevard. She remembers the pigs running down there. That's where she was from. And of course, she came out here to Parkville when they got married. She thought she was really out in the boondocks.
Yeah. It was pretty built up in downtown Baltimore with all the row homes and the marble steps. And,
Right.
Yeah.
She lived on Stricker Street, not far from Carroll Park.
Right. My grandfather was on Fate Avenue, 3920 Fate Avenue. So I used to take 2 buses and actually go down there and visit them.
Oh, I know. We'd go down there by the streetcar, and it would take us a long while.
Yeah.
We'd have to transfer, on a streetcar to get to my grandmother's house.
Yeah. At the end of Fate Avenue, she was by the train track, so sometimes kids would play on the trains. I know my uncle used to jump on the trains, ride it as it turned the corner, and then jump off. Do you have any memories of playing by the trains or any of that? Or
No. I didn't. I never lived down there. We lived here in Parkville.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, can you think of anything else?
That's so much. I just can't. Offhand, it's so hard to remember it all. But
we covered it pretty
I have so
good.
many memories.
You already moved out of here, your whole family? Because I don't see it here in Pensionstown.
I beg your pardon?
Did you move out of Parkville, your family?
No, I still live right straight through here on Wilson Avenue.
I was born 73 years ago on Linwood Avenue.
And we'll have to get you next.
You were born where?
Linwood Avenue.
Linwood? Yeah. What's your name?
It's back to your great.
Yeah, that you used to serve some of the what was that, during the Civil War and stuff?
Well, the old hotel at one time was owned by my great-grandparents. And my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother had that. And she was married to Kilchenstein, who passed away, and then she remarried. Her name was then Rodman. Her last name was Rodman. And during the Civil War, she had the hotel, and there were troops that.
Give me that picture. We'll put that in there. Go ahead. You can keep talking about
there were
the troops
that actually stayed in the hotel for a while. And that's the old hotel right there.
So how did you go in the hotel? Can you see where's the doorway?
The only thing I remember about it, this was years later when I saw it in the basement. In fact, I remember They had a big oyster roast down there one time, and going in there for the oyster roast, they had beer and soda and sauerkraut and everything goes along with the oyster roast, you know. And that's really my only memory of the hotel.
But they used to have
It
this
stood right here.
right here behind where we are, and we're in
Right
front of
back
George's.
Behind where we are right now.
Hartford, and what is this?
Acton Road. I mean Alden
Maple.
Road.
Alden.
Road.
Okay. And
Well, the other picture right next to it, that's our house when it was on the corner of Hartford and Taylor,
okay.
which was eventually moved down to where it is now, 7804.
Okay. Well, that's what I think we got it all right. All the memories of the hotel. That's what Ernie was